I'm your host, William Honolulu Jr. Join us as we explore the news and opinions that impact our community. We break down how the major stories have a very personal, local, and racial impact. No topic is off limits, but even if the conversation gets rough, we're always going to keep it real. Greetings and salutations, all my people out there in internet land. I am William Honolulu Jr., and I have the privilege and honor of serving as the host of the BlackUSA.news morning show. Today is February 25th, 2022, the 25th day of Women's History Month and International Waffle Day. Okay, I normally try to come up with something about International Waffle Day, but I'm more of a pancake guy myself. So, I'm a little bit at a loss. Waffles are good. Don't get it twisted. It says, but it's just not pancakes. And also in good conscience, while I do like the Waffle House, I can't in good conscience tell you all to go out and celebrate by going to the Waffle House. Okay. But happy International. I guess I did not do a good job of celebrating International Waffle Day, but you should like pancakes. Whatever. Big shout out to the super producer, Kyle Crazy Horse Morgan, who makes sure that we have all the content and support that we need to have the best show for you that we can. You all know how difficult it is to really try to make something happen in real life. It may look easy. Well, actually, I got to be honest. I'm sure I don't make it look easy because it isn't. But it's always great when you have people like Crazy Horse who got your back. And also, new addition to the team, the assistant producer, Brandy Raymar. We're really grateful to have her. They have her with us. Because again, many hands make the burden light. Wanted to let you all know about a couple of new shows that we have on the network. People Over Politics, which is hosted by the Cannabis Councilman, Councilman Martin Mitchell out of Laurel. That show is Sundays at 9 a.m. And also Sunday night at 8 p.m. You have Climbing Out with Tina and Erica. They talk about relationships and they talk about them boldly and bluntly. I had the opportunity to listen into a couple of shows, and I'm gonna tell you what, I don't know if I'm gonna sit in any of those shows because they be telling some real truth. And you'll be like, I don't know, my feelings are still a little. I see I got divorced before, and so I'm still working through healing some stuff. So I don't know if I want to hear all of the truth about my particular situation. If you feel me, so I like to listen. So, and I think you will too. That's Sunday at 8 p.m. It's called Climbing Out with Erica and Tina. Yesterday's show, we had Erica DeShazo, one of my good friends and clients, come through and talk about her experience as a Black woman. As you all know who've been following the show, this is March 2022 is our month of Black women. And it is a really great opportunity to really hear the stories of Black women and kind of archive them and just really make them part of our combined experience. For those of you all who don't know, these shows are also my gift to my goddaughters, and let me give you a little video to tell you more about that. Dear Shanae and Simone, as you move through life as Black women, you will have a very unique experience. In many cases, you will be asked or expected to serve in roles that weren't clearly explained, nor did you really agree to. Over the course of my life, I have met some amazing women who have navigated some of the spaces that you will encounter. I want my village to share with you their stories of trials and successes to help provide a foundation to understand your power to choose the woman that you will become and the strength that you can find in your sisters. This series of shows is my gift to you. The women you will hear from are phenomenal. They come from different backgrounds and have chosen different paths for their lives. Each represents a facet of the Black woman experience. Some of the stories may not align with your journey directly, but those stories are even more important. By listening closely, you can learn about uncommon experiences and find ways to support your sisters along your shared journey. I love you all so much, and I hope to see you soon. So that gives you a sense of what our month of Black women has been about. And I am excited and very, 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 very excited. I'm gonna tell you why. Tell you why. Because well, you all know just in general, you've seen what we do here. You seen me, Horse, and Brandy. We bring you dope people. And this month of Black women has been just an exemplary representation of that. But today, see, today y'all don't even understand what's about to happen. Today, um, my next guest, she and I literally go back like babies and pacifiers. Like, because I think we were babies with pacifiers when we actually met. Okay. So, like, I'm talking about, like, I have had the opportunity to see the girl she was, the woman that she became, and to watch her not just experience trials and tribulations, but how she stood in it with a level of integrity and self-awareness, that, you know, the backstory is amazing on it as well. So if you all have not been inspired up to this point, well, one, shame on you. You should probably listen to the entire show, not just take clips, because I don't know how you listened to this stuff before and wasn't inspired. But if you haven't been, that's still your fault again. I'm sorry, but you will be today, I guarantee it. Because I have an opportunity to introduce you all to my very good friend. Actually, literally a sister from another mother, Mia Jones. Hey, did I get you? Are you on here? There we go. All right, here we go.
We were having some technical difficulties. I saw the
I know,
circle
right?
going. I was like, oh no,
Yeah,
not
I'm
this
not a fan of the
time.
circle. I'm not a fan of the
Right.
circle. Circle means something went wrong. I'm not a fan. Welcome to the show, Mia.
Did you call me Mia?
Oh, you know what I did? That is okay. So
Because
I
you're
know why
reading.
I did that.
Because you're
But
reading.
yes, because I'm reading. So, and I'm gonna tell you why I did that also. Because my line brother's daughter's name is Mia, and the
Oh,
funny part is, you know, clearly I knew her before I knew you before I knew her, and I spent years training myself to when I see that to say Mia.
Maya. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
So
so,
the
because remember, I grew up with you, so it's always been Maya,
it's
except these last like 15 years was like my Mia. So now with the
right.
age and
And
stuff, and now
every
Maya
Mia
too.
that I meet, that's what they say. They're like, you are the reason people call me Maya. And I'm like, that's my name. That's what it is. So
You're absolutely right. I appreciate you correcting me. But I have show notes, okay? Because my producer, I love him to death. He said, "Hey, let me give you some constructive feedback. When you know somebody, you forget that you have a job to do. You just keep
right.
talking
No,
to them,
that's very true because it's like, and you
right?"
know.
So one of the first things to help me not do that, he said, stop early on and give your guests an opportunity to introduce themselves to the audience. So I'm
Okay.
going because I don't want no smoke. I'm gonna follow directions. And Maya, please introduce yourself to the people.
Okay. Hi everybody. My name is Maya Jones. Um, uh, Let me just say Maya because in elementary school we learned that when one vowel follows the other one, the first one is strong. So it's Maya. Okay. Anyway, um, I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a grandma, and I'm an ovarian cancer survivor. And sometimes I am a part of SZC Logistics, a business that my husband and I run together.
Cool, cool, cool. You know what? I also because I'm now thinking about why I was reading your name because I have been struggling for this whole time of getting ready to interview you to remember not to call you Hill. That's what I'm so
Oh,
focused on not calling you Hill that I end up calling you Mia.
all right. But so I get that all the time though. Miss Hill, Miss Hill. So, and it's like, okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna start you off the same way that I start everybody else off.
Mhm.
Um, Elon Musk shot a rocket into space, and while the rocket, no, I swear it'll tie back into Black women. I know it doesn't sound like, but it's gonna come back around. He's like,
I'm
wait,
like, do I
you
need to
don't.
start Googling?
All right. So the rocket's flying around in orbit, and some aliens are passing by the solar system. They're like, hey, what's happening over there? So they travel over here, and they're like, oh my God, there's 7 billion sentient beings on here. Okay. And
Right.
there's different ones in races and ages and sizes and colors. Hey, I see one of the categories is Black women. You, Maya Jones, are a Black woman.
Right.
Help explain to me what it's like to be a Black woman with me having no frame of reference.
Oh, wow. Being a Black woman, being forced to be strong when you're not, being forced not to be sensitive because you'll or emotional because you've been told that Black women have attitudes and are too we do too much. um Also, being a Black woman, one of the great things that I love is we see ourselves and we see our style all over the world, whether people acknowledge us, whether they accept us, they always want to be us. You're going to see some ladies getting some plumper lips, doing some things to make their eyes a little larger, mimicking our bodies, mimicking our styles. I know growing up, I hated to wear cornrows, but now you see every ethnicity there is wearing cornrows, even adding beads. So
Right.
that's another thing about being a Black woman. We have I think one of the things that I love about being a Black woman is because we come in so many different hues. You know, we range from copper, to the darkest brown that there is. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
All right. So you talked about earlier in your description of being a Black woman, you talked about the kind of the force to be in these roles. That's
Mhm.
been a recurring theme throughout this month. It is this whole idea of if you don't do it, who's going to?
Yeah.
And having to. But one of our guests earlier brought up this concept of weaponized incompetence. And the example of weaponized incompetence is the joke Bill Cosby used to tell when we was little. We wasn't supposed to be listening to him, but somebody
Right.
had a record player somewhere.
Right.
Oh wow, we at the age where we're talking about antique. Oh wow, never mind. I don't even want to do that. I'm not doing the math. I apologize. I came back to right now. So he woke up. His wife woke him up Saturday morning and said, "Go downstairs and fix the kids breakfast." So he goes downstairs, and the kids are like, "Hey, Dad, can we have some chocolate cake for breakfast?" And he goes, "There's eggs in chocolate cake. There's milk in chocolate cake. Sure, let's have some chocolate cake." And everybody's singing and partying, eating chocolate cake for breakfast. His wife comes down, loses it, and is like, "What are you doing? Da 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 da, clean up, da da da." And sends him upstairs, and he never has to make breakfast again. Now, I don't, and the way he tells the joke, it wasn't that his plan was to do this, and so he didn't have to do breakfast again, but it is that idea that he's just going to do, and there needs to be a grown up, and it seems to always have to be Black women. Is that just a limited take, or is that part of your experience as well?
I think that's part of all of our experience. The
As
workplace.
people or Black women?
I think as Black women, I
Okay.
think that's every Black woman experience. There's this expectation that, we're just gonna do it. You know what I mean? Um, it's at work, but
Mm-hmm.
it's in our friendships. Like, oh, I don't have to call her. She's strong. She knows I'm thinking about her. I just saw her on Facebook. She was good. You know, it's in our marriages. She knows what I'm thinking. She knows how I'm feeling. It's she knows. With our children. I love that, scenario because that kind of sums it up right there. Like that's the end of the interview. Like that's it. That's
All
it.
right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Jeremiah.
Yeah. You have a lot of people that just assume you're gonna make it happen. and you're going to be okay with whatever happens once you make it happen. I think a lot of times, I don't know if it goes back to slavery and it just came, on down, but black, like I said earlier, that we are expected to be strong. And
Mhm.
then it's one of those things that I hate when I see it on social media is when I see the word boss. Like she's a boss. I'm a boss. Like
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
goal. And I don't think that people really understand the pressure you're putting on yourself being something that's unrealistic.
right.
Because yeah, being something unrealistic. Like I see a lot of times on social media too. Like if you don't support me, I don't support you. Or it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I've seen those too.
yeah, so kind of like that. I think that yeah, we're kind of forced into this role of being strong, being all knowing and being able to do everything. Kind of like a god that we're not.
And honestly, I remember my mother used to tell a story about me. When we were young, they used to take us to those little trips to the zoo and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
one time they took us to the snake exhibit, and they had the boa constrictor out, and it was like, hey, nobody will want to touch it because they're afraid. And some little kid sat up and stood up in the back and said, "My mommy will hold it. My mommy's not afraid of anything."
Oh no,
And
mommy,
Mildred
not.
Honolulu went to the front and she pet that snake for me. And what I did not know then is that my mother is deathly afraid of
Mhm.
snakes.
But she had to
And
do it
and,
because that's what we had to do.
and so, but that's what I want to know, right? Like, why? Because
I don't think
what
that
I
we.
hate because
I don't think that anybody. I don't think until recently. And when
mm,
I say recently, I'm talking about like the hashtag Me Too movement.
mhm, mhm,
That
mhm, mhm.
I don't think that we knew we had options. Like I remember, having a conversation with someone when all of these sexual harassment claims came down from,
Mhm.
I mean, like people that, especially Bill Cosby. Like when you talk about Bill Cosby, like like sexual
Yeah,
harassment and
yeah.
rape and things like that.
Oh, he told
I
good
don't
jokes,
think
but he
that,
still raped somebody. Yeah,
huh?
I said he
Said
told
it.
good jokes, but he still raped somebody.
Yeah, so I think that I don't know about any other race of women, but definitely Black women, because we are overly sexualized. Like we are out there and we have always, even as slaves, been promoted as being like hypersexual, and I don't know where that comes from, but
Well,
you know,
because
um,
the men wanted black women a lot, so it
yeah,
became the black women's fault. If you wasn't so bad, then it would make me feel this
you
way.
didn't
He's
have that
evil,
donkey, it
dressed
wouldn't be my.
differently. Yeah.
So, but I'm glad that you said that because that's what I was trying to say. That
Oh,
we
sorry.
we did no, 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 no. You helped because you were a man saying it versus me saying it. We didn't know that we had options. We didn't know we had choices.
Yeah.
We didn't know. And so, I mean, like now, they give teachers mental health days. They give students mental health days. At work, you get mental health days. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, that was a joke. You better tough it up and you got to come to work. Like, I remember being a mom. You call your job and tell them that, your kid is sick. Like what? Your kid is sick because no
So
one's
you're gonna
kid
be
is
late.
sick. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, or you get a call because you have to leave to take care of a kid or they acted up. The men didn't have to deal with that. Men don't. I mean, first of all, as a kid, you didn't want to see your dad pull up at school.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, 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 yeah.
men didn't have to deal with that. Women, that was our job. Like if a child was not fed, it was on their mama. Nobody looked at the daddy and said, "Oh, the daddy's not taking." No, your mama's not
Mhm.
taking care. If you saw a kid that was not clean, the mama's not taking care of them. You know what I'm saying? If a man cheats, whose fault is it? Is it his fault because he's out there
Nope.
cheating? No, it's your fault because you did this or you didn't, do that. So, it's this whole thing where like your mom, I'm afraid of snakes too, but if my kid stands up until probably 2018, I would have had to go up there and pet that snake too. Now we have an
Right.
option. We can say, "No, I'm not a
Right.
strong black woman, and I'm not doing that."
And I
So,
think you hit it right on the nail on the head. Is that as our culture has started to listen to Black women and started to be like,
mhm,
wait, that and okay, so I'm an example of misogynoir in the process of reform.
mhm.
Because I remember, I was
And at
madly in
least you
love with my
admitted it. At least you admitted it. A lot of people
oh, thank you. I I was madly in love my senior year of high school, and this is the person I was going to spend the rest of my forever life with, and into the afterlife. And
don't.
we were talking about what our life would be like together, and I was like, you know what? It'd be cool because we could have my mom come and live with us, and she could cook and take care of the kids. Because she does that all the time now, and she loves it. And we'd be even nicer than my dad and my brother and sister, so it'd be easier for her. The young lady clearly that was a red flag. That's why she didn't stay in the rotation.
She didn't even know about red flags then, but she was just like, "Oh no, mama
But
living with us?
to
Oh
me,
no."
my mother loved doing it. Well, and I
Mhm.
would make it easier for her, and it would be a cool situation. Like and I imagine that has happened to a lot of people who did not recognize their privilege along the way.
I think they stole your idea for the show Blackish because that's
Oh,
what
what?
a Blackish. I said because your idea many years ago was to have your mom come and help out the family, but
I've
that
never
is
seen the show.
you. Okay, so this is their absolute final season, but
Okay.
they show them all the time on FX and BET. Make
So
it your
one of the
business. I was gonna say time out for the interview. Make it your
yeah.
business to watch that show. It's an amazing show. It's like the Cosby Show rebooted.
Okay.
Meaning it's a successful husband, successful wife. His mom comes to live with them. Of course, the previous generation, the mom and dad are dysfunctional, and
Yeah. Well,
the
yeah.
husband and wife are working through the dysfunction to create healthy kids, but it's extremely honest. I mean, like they are
Okay.
extremely honest, like how each parent has a favorite, how this
Yeah.
black father has this image of who he wants his black son to be, but this black son is sensitive, you know,
Mm-hmm.
he has emotions, he cries, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It is extremely smart, and then also they have a lot of African American history that they put in there. I mean,
Okay.
they are honest at work. They make it funny,
Mm-hmm.
but they explore racism. They explore stereotypes. But it's a great show. You would love it.
So I think I will love it. So there's like five shows that I have not watched that everybody says I love. Game of Thrones,
I've never
um,
seen it, but I know I should. But
The Wire. I saw
The
like
Wire you
three
would
or four
love.
episodes. And the reason I didn't watch those shows is that when they were really popular, I was so nervous that they were gonna I get hooked and they get canceled because that's happened to me way too many times. But since
Mhm.
Blackish is about to wrap up, okay, I think I could jump in on it.
But see, now you have Netflix and you have HBO Max and you have all these different places that
Yeah, yeah,
these streaming apps where you can watch nonstop. You can do it at your schedule versus waiting every week and then being disappointed.
true. Yeah, I'm not.
It,
Yeah. So, but the other thing that you can do is make sure that as far as streaming is concerned, you can always come to YouTube or Facebook and watch Black USA News, the morning show,
amen.
especially coming to you Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Okay, just
Right,
wanted to make sure we make sure everybody understood all of their options.
right.
So we talked about how the pressure is always on from little when you're little and the boys get sent outside because they're messing up in the kitchen and the girls get told to come in and clean up
Mhm,
to this chocolate cake breakfast example.
mhm.
What happens when you don't? What happens if mom just says, you know what, let me, they'll see the consequences and he'll have to handle it for the rest of the day. I'm tapped out today. What happens? Like the funny part is that when I said that, like you jump back, like, wait, somebody can do that? What you talking about?
Right. Okay. So I grew up. It was me and my sister, and we are 8 years apart. So we both grew up oldest only child, youngest only child. And then I had two girls, and then my sister had a girl. Eventually, my nephew and boys came, but for the longest time, there was only girls, and I
Mm,
always felt bad for my dad because he was surrounded by overactive hormones at all times. You're dealing with your wife, then you're dealing with a teenager at this time, and then a teenager 8 years later, and
Oh,
then
yeah. Oh,
another
right. Right.
teenager, another teenager 10 years later. Like, it was a lot. So we did not have the option of saying no. I don't think I knew that you could buck until um high school, and then that's when I realized parents will nuck.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So, there was no, he goes outside, because we were girls. So I was a part of that generation where your mom is calling you before you're going to school. Take the meat out the freezer.
Yep.
God knows there's how many days that you forget to take the meat out the freezer. And then
Oh my
she,
God.
and then you try to, oh, it doesn't matter. I'll do it after school, not realizing that those deep freezers back then, you didn't
Yeah.
defrost in 2 hours. So, no, we didn't have an option not to do it. The punishment was brutal.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like physical abuse, but like I think our parents have learned now, but like back then it was like, you're stupid. I told you to do this, you didn't do this. So
Ostracization. Yeah.
yeah, I think as a Black woman born in the 70s, raised in the 80s and 90s, I think I spent most of my life trying to, just prove, like I'm somebody. I'm not stupid, like I can
Mhm.
do stuff. And the whole I'm strong, I'm smart, I can do this, I'm tough, and all of those things were not me. Like I there were of course moments where I had to be strong.
Mhm.
For the viewers, like I was federally indicted, and I had to do some federal time, but during that time, I also had to endure stage 4 ovarian cancer. So that had nothing to do with being Black. That had nothing to do with anything other than, a person who is trying to overcome an illness.
Mhm.
So, forced to be strong, but that wasn't my option. That wasn't like the first thing was I was like, hey, God, I'm looking for a task, to show how strong I am, to test my great faith. No. Like, I was like, "If there was a God, why would he do it?" Type of thing. So, I think as I got older, therapy, experience, life, punishment, all those things, I've learned that I didn't have to be strong. Like growing up, I thought, oh, I had to be strong, I had to be smart, I had to do things on time, I had to be perfect. I had to learn my Easter speech for church, and then I had to learn
Oh.
my stuff at school, and then I had to be cool with the kids in the neighborhood because I didn't go to the neighborhood school, and then I had to be smart at school. You know, I'm I had to learn how to strip away, like all of those false personalities and kind of get to know at a later age in life, or kids say now, big age, like who is Maya? Who is she? And she's a crybaby. She likes to cry. Like I cry watching TV, watching a movie. I'm surprised I'm not crying now. Fuck. Talking to you just like, and I have,
Wow.
just grateful, not to have to be strong. A lot of people always are, you're so strong. I'm really not. I really am not. I'm not.
One of the things we often talk about is this idea when it comes to mental and emotional health. People say things like, and let me rephrase. People say stupid things like, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." And the reason that I classify that as stupid is that
It's
if
not true.
only,
It's not
and they
true.
only try to apply it to a mental and emotional health or
Mhm,
mental and emotional situations. Because if you have $100,000 and you have an $80,000 emergency, that doesn't
mhm,
make you richer. If your ankle is broken and you just kind of run or walk it off, like that's not good advice. And then you have people who are trying to recover from trauma or experiencing heartbreak and tragedy, and you're like, well, you just realize you're going to be strong. Don't honor the attack. Celebrate the strength of the victim.
Right. So
Um,
I'm glad that you
mhm.
said that because going through cancer treatment, incarceration, divorce, you like you said, heartbreak from your kids. Because if you have children, they will break your heart. We've broken our
Yeah,
parents' heart.
yeah,
Friendship. I think like I feel like sometimes society feels like they have to say something to you when something is going on. And I learned and at the at my weakest moment, I learned this. Um, the scripture that every black church says all the time is, and it's not a real scripture, is God will never give you more than you can bear. Absolute 100% false lie. It's, and actually, I just Googled it because I like to say the actual scripture because people are gonna be like, that is the scripture. That is the scripture. That is. He won't give you more than you can, but he will. And there's a reason why he will. Because he says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and you will learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. He will give you a lot because he wants you to give it to him because he has the strength. He can handle the burden. So I want us to, as Black women in the church, to stop telling people when you get bad news or you feel like you're comforting somebody, stop telling them that God won't give you more than you can bear. Because he will, because he doesn't expect for you to bear it. He expects for you to give it to him to bear it.
and the idea about the punishing God, it keeps people in line from fear. But honestly, a lot of the portrayal of God, like I have a, and I know it's ain't a religion. We're not doing the religious stuff right now.
Right.
Oh, we may do. It's my show. We can talk about what I want to talk about. But the whole story of Job, when I first understood the story of Job, I was like, so wait, that's your man. Like your man, 100, he loves you more than all. You know that, and you're like, say, and Satan gets you to do he's your friend. No, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not. And then prove it. Okay, do everything you want to. It's like that, that seems Zeus-ish,
Mhm.
not Godish. And so, recognizing that some of it is about um
Or look at
that.
Jesus. Like I mean, as
Oh,
a like if you
that's a
really
whole other thing.
I don't think that I really understood what Jesus endured until I saw the movie. Um
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the name of the movie right now.
Passion.
Yeah, Passion of the Christ. When I saw that, I was like, whoa, like whoa. Um so yeah, like when you talk about this punishing God, I think that's what a lot of people use for fear. Um,
Yeah.
and I get so I try to stay away from this topic because sometimes people can get
Worked
extremely
up.
religious and then start typing scripture
Oh,
because
I
I don't
love
and I
that part.
also don't
I
want
know that part. Oh no, because we learn the Easter speeches. You can come with it if you want to.
we
We
right.
got we got
Listen,
some books and stuff, and don't let us
yeah,
go to either one of our mothers and ask them for citations.
exactly.
Okay.
I will log her on right now. Or like I don't want people to think that, hey, because of what I'm gonna say, that hey, you could do whatever you want and God's gonna love you. But the truth of the matter is he has a scripture that says there is nothing, absolutely nothing that can separate you from his love. Like nothing. Absolutely, there's nothing you can do. Even though man, we will tell you that there's big and little sin, but not that there's nothing that separates him. But it doesn't say that you won't be punished. It doesn't say that, and the punishment is more so consequences for your actions. It's not like I am God and
Yeah.
I saw what you did at 4:15, 4:17. Like that's not what he's trying to do. He
Right.
it's more so teaching you consequences and trying to steer you away, from the behaviors that try to separate you, you know, from him. So
Yeah.
I would recommend
Uh,
people read the Shack. So on
okay.
that.
And there's a couple of other some books book that I read by C.S. Lewis called The Screw Tape Letters. And one of
Mm.
the things that
I'm gonna
Well, let me
order that.
not lie. Let me not lie. There's an audio book I listened to on my commute to work for a week called The Screw Tape Letters. I'm not trying to take credit I didn't deserve, okay? And one of the things that it's the plot is
You took it
complicated, but
in
one,
though.
yeah, I did. It was a better way for me to digest the information because like what 10, 15 years later, I'm about to tell you what it said. So clearly it worked. Um, the guy said he was trying to train this junior demon to become, rise through the demon ranks or whatever.
Hmm.
And the junior demon was apparently trying to figure out how he could make his target do something big or like, whatever. And the guy said, you don't need to murder him. You can get him to play. I mean, you don't need him to murder. You just need him to get him to play cards if that's going to be what it is that separates him from God.
Hmm.
It was everybody is looking for the big thing. And in a lot of things, a lot of times it is the little things that
I
will
was gonna
separate you
say,
from your cause. Like you pray for a new job, but it keeps you out of church. It keeps you out of prayer, out of
keeps
fellowship.
out your
You,
house. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you're out your household. And like to me, I think being out the house is worse than being out of church, because
right.
the dynamic, if you're a
The house
parent.
is the foundation. Yes.
Mm, yeah. Oh wow. And just like you
And,
said, there are little things that can separate you, and there are little things that could do great things too. So that's
yep.
crazy. Like we do focus on the big picture and forget about those small little things that lead up to. So that was good. I
When
like
I
that.
do my business consulting, a lot of times I have people that can't see the process for. I use roadmaps as an example. It's like you're so excited to get to DC, you are forgetting that traffic is in Silver Spring.
Mm-hmm.
You are like, oh, we're gonna
Always
get there, and
better.
it's like,
Mhm.
yes. When you look at MapQuest at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night for the directions tomorrow, it does tell you it only takes 50 minutes. But I'm telling you,
Mhm.
unless there is an air raid or a national emergency, you're not making it past there. And what
That's
happens
so
is the
funny
people.
that you say that because especially when family members are booking hotels, they always book in Chevy Chase. They're like, "It's only 15 minutes from you." That's a lie.
That,
That's
yeah,
15 miles. That is
right,
not 15 minutes. And this is not 15 North Carolina miles. This is
right, yeah. And
yeah,
so,
this is a different ballgame.
right, but that's one of the things. Like, you have a lot of people that are looking so far at the destination, they're not looking
Mhm.
at the detail. They're not
Mhm.
looking at like, oh, there's a lot of steps to get to a happy marriage, or oh, there's a lot of steps that there's a horrible time you have to go through to get through therapy. Like, there's parts of therapy that are worse than being outside of therapy. But once you get past
Mhm.
those parts, eventually things seem better. You're
Mhm.
able, and even if they're not better, you're able to cope with them better. But so, how do you advise people, or how do you even manage with the fact that a lot of the stuff that you're doing, you can't hurry up and get to your destination. Like there's a
Mhm.
lot of steps and a lot of people in a lot of the steps, and a lot of the people got their own stuff in a lot of your steps.
So
That's a
that's so
lot.
many. I was gonna say that's so many different things. Like, okay, so I'll stay because I was gonna say that could be about marriage. Because I love how you said that there are a lot of steps in marriage, and especially to stay married. There are a lot that you have to do. But more so, I think I'm gonna start with business because
Okay.
right now we're in an age where everybody is an entrepreneur. We're quasi entrepreneur, meaning they have a full time job and
Mm-hmm.
a business that they are doing. And but a lot of businesses they're starting. There's millions of EIN numbers out there, but there's not a lot of successful businesses. And I think it has to do 1000% with what you saying, missing the steps. So I told you my husband and I in a hauling and logistics business. So when PPP came out, before PPP money, you could get a truck, a good running truck, 20,
Mm-hmm.
30,000. Right now, a raggedy truck is 50 because all that PPP money.
Mm-hmm.
People got a lot of money and people hear trucks. Oh, So you make $10,000 a week per truck? I'm gonna go get me a truck. They don't understand that in the trucking business. Now, I don't know. If you do hair,
Hmm.
you might only need one flat iron. You know what I mean? Like if you do
Hmm.
nails, you might only need one, drill. If it breaks, you can just get another drill. But in the trucking industry, if your truck goes down and you only have one, then your business has stopped. Because like you said, you only looked at I'm at point A and then I'm going to point B and you didn't look at all of the different things in the
Hmm.
middle. Um if you My husband has a CDO. So 50% of the time that helps us because if a driver quits or they need to be fired, he can get in the truck. But what about if you don't have your CDO and you can't drive? Have you thought about, what happens if you have a contract with the government that has to go on, you know, um, or Amazon? God knows Amazon is one of those
Yeah.
companies that you have to be perfect or you can't run with them. What are you prepared for the next step? Are you prepared for a breakdown? Like, yes, you just went out and you spent 60, $70,000 on this truck. But guess what? That's not a brand new truck. And what if it goes down? Do you have the $10,000 for a clutch? Because your driver says he drives, but clearly if the clutch is burnt out, he doesn't know how to drive. you know, are
He's
you
practicing
prepared?
on your clutch.
He's practicing. Are you prepared for an accident? I mean, because accidents happen. Little cars come in front of your truck all the time. It's like I try to explain to people all the time, are you, really, really ready? And I don't think a lot of African American businesses are really prepared when they step out there. And it's because a lot of us are starting on a dream, like a hope, like
Mhm.
this is what I want to do. Steve Harvey told me to jump. I jumped. I have some money. You know what I mean? I got a credit
Mhm.
card because on TikTok they showed me how to get a business credit card. So I'm ready. I'm a boss. I'm a business person, and I think we fail each other in our culture, not sharing healthy and truthful business practices.
So I gotta be honest. I agree with everything you said as far as the business practice training goes. Like I've been talking for the last year that the entrepreneurship training that gets provided is really just bullshit. Ah,
Mm,
dang. I just cursed. That means I'm gonna get a fine, but it's okay. It goes to charity. It's fine. I'm okay with it. But it is. And what happens is that even when we teach them to pitch, and that's one of the reasons I love working with Taz Vera of the Blackout Show on Saturdays at 10:30.
mhm,
When we work with people to pitch, it's really about teaching them how to understand and communicate their business, not just
mhm,
how to, shuck and jive and dance a little bit so somebody can be edutained. You inform them about your business, and then you made them feel good, so now they feel comfortable writing you a check, and it might be big money to you, but it's entertainment money for them. And it still
mhm,
doesn't help you grow. It just means you have to stay in the same, that becomes your business. Your business becomes shucking and jiving and dancing the business wop. Because I'm going back
mhm,
to, you said 70s, 80s, you got to take it, I'm saying like, okay.
mhm,
But that you got to, that's what your business ends up becoming. Because like you said, you didn't understand all of the stuff that's necessary. I saw one small business that I know that she started doing pitches so often
mhm.
that she actually stopped her business and transitioned into doing it full time, like pitching and speaking and stuff like that, because it became her business model. But if that's not what you want to do,
Right,
you got to figure out a way to get off that,
right.
because it is one of those that I have seen a lot. Because once people realize or believe that a black woman has a particular set of skills, they tend not to let her out of those skills, and everybody wants to give her kudos and sometimes money to use, well, definitely not enough, but sometimes money to use those skills. But then it always comes with consequences later on. It's like after you do the last good thing for them. Then the next time when you don't have it, it's like, huh? See, I knew you couldn't do it. I mean, I know you hit me,
Mhm,
you covered me 99 out of 100, but that
mhm.
100 one was the one that really counted.
Right, right,
Is
right,
that
right.
something that you experience? I mean, maybe they're not in that same voice, but
Yeah. No, but that I mean, yeah, definitely in business, and then also like you experience that in relationships and friendships and things like that, like that false expectation. Um and the hauling and logistics is simple. Like your business model is simple. You get there on time. It's about integrity, it's about having character, it's about being dependable. That's it.
Mhm,
Um, I I do see that there is a market now for classes. I see it. There are a great number of women um, who have classes, like, hey, for $599, I can show you how to start a trucking business. Um, and I'm not saying it's fraudulent. What I'm going
mhm,
to say about that practice is I feel like it's taking advantage of you're using this to attract the business. Truckers, 90% of truckers are men,
mhm,
and you're charging people to do something that they can do for free. And that is something that I'm against. It's one thing for me to pay you, Will,
mhm,
for your skills. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Like you are good at what you do, I'm gonna pay you. But there's
mhm,
another thing for me saying, hey, for $599, I'm going to set up your business for you, which
mhm,
is IRS.com. Get your
mhm,
EIN number for free. You know,
mhm,
you know, go on LegalZoom for what is
mhm,
it, 69.99, and get your
mhm.
name legalized. Like I think it's scamishy. Sometimes when you
But
charge
let me help
people
you with
to
that. I
do
can help with
things.
that. I can help with some of them are outright scams. And so like
Mhm.
for me, there's a lot of material that I on grindinggang.com that I just give away for free specifically for that purpose because there's a
Right.
lot of stuff that people are charging people for. But what I have learned, and this is one of the things that, kind of leads us back in this conversation about black women. I don't think you recognize how special it is that you can do all those things.
Yeah.
It,
No, I think it's amazing, but I
no,
think
you.
that
I'm talking about you.
that I
Like
can do. Oh, okay, okay.
yes. You see what I'm saying? It's like you can do all of those things.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
you have the intellectual ability and the business experience and the training so that you can read through the IRS things and feel
Mhm.
comfortable that you filled it out correctly, or be comfortable enough to know the system well enough that if you didn't, somebody's going to give you a call and you're going to know this.
Exactly.
But, but
Right.
but my thing is that is special. The when people pay 59, I mean $5.99 or
Oh,
whatever, they're paying for the fact that they don't know and they don't feel comfortable enough for that. Because if they
okay.
did, they do it themselves.
Right. And so I guess my thing is I feel like we should be encouraging and helping each other to get to that point of
Yes.
feeling comfortable because unless they first of all, if you completed a Class A CDO training course and passed that license, you should be able to do the simple things. Like you should not be
You
handling
you
a
you really you really overestimate. That's what I'm telling you. You really overestimate because so I'll use myself as an example.
okay.
I have a bachelor's degree in political science, a degree in law, MBA. I edit dissertations, and sometimes it's just difficult as hell for me to make phone calls. Sometimes
Right.
I sit around with all of the information and just sit there confused, trying to figure out, like, all right, okay, another spreadsheet. Now I should be able to figure it out when I have a friend come in and be like, just do that one.
Got
Oh,
it.
thank
Yeah.
God. Okay, all right, that's the one I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that one. Like,
Right,
no
right, right,
spreadsheets, no like literally, I once wrote an algorithm to help me figure out something, and I was having a problem, and I was talking to my friend about the algorithm, and they solved the actual problem. It's like you don't need all that, just do this one. And I was like, Oh, so that's what I'm saying. There, people's brains are wired differently.
Right.
I've always seen
I
you.
just
You
don't.
are that
I
girl.
guess I just feel like we just shouldn't take advantage of the underdog. I guess that's my thing. Like I do understand that
Yes,
you have to pay to play. You have to,
yes.
but I also feel like it is our obligation. This has nothing to do with the strong black woman. But
Yeah,
I
no,
just
no, no, no.
feel
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, I feel like it is our obligation as minorities, because if you are a minority that has had a business over 5 years, you're blessed. You know what I mean? If you
Absolutely.
are a minority that has received financing, not from a small,
Yeah,
financing
like
company, but
big money.
big money banks, um, you're blessed. And I feel like you have been put in place to show other people how to do it.
Yes,
And I guess that maybe that's what makes me different from other people. And that's probably why my feelings get hurt too, because I'm expecting, that type
you
of
from other people.
reciprocity. Right.
Yeah, but here's
Reciprocity
but
from her. But
honestly,
I
so
just feel like in the small business world, there are so many people that they hold information that, just
yes.
like, okay, say for instance, in the state of Maryland, there is it's a lot of acronyms, but basically there's money through the casinos. There's money through the small business
Mhm.
not the Small Business Administration, but there's an agency in Maryland that they have money set aside to help
Yeah.
you grow your business. But a lot of people didn't know about that. And then when you're
Well,
telling them about it, it's like,
so some of those programs, so I agree with you that we need to do more. Absolutely.
mm,
And I think to your point that, one of the reasons that we do a lot of the stuff we do at Black USA News is because, that investment back into the community, making sure that we're at least providing the information so that people know where to go
right,
to get it and they can build on it. One of the things that I've also found about a lot of the people who are out here doing it are the ones you're talking about. They're trying to rush they're trying to rush to get to DC, not realizing that think about it. If you want to get to DC in an hour from Baltimore during that time, you're going to have to drive 150 miles an hour on the shoulder.
or you're not going to you're driving through non-peak hours.
Right. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to do it during peak hours, you're going to have to break some
Oh
laws.
yeah.
And that's what's happening with some of these people. They want to go so fast that they want to go to DC so quickly. They're okay, whatever the Uber ride's gonna cost, you can get me there soon, right? Okay, whatever. I've never been to DC, but I heard you could get
Not
oh
knowing
out
you're gonna
there,
still be
so I'm on
stuck.
my way. Huh?
Right. Yes, and not know understanding they're still gonna be stuck.
Right. No matter, but that's all. Oh my God, the Uber. Okay, Uber might be the new metaphor now, because like
Right.
the Uber. Oh, I could get you down there, son. You got to be there. With, oh no, if you get in right now and give me like it's normally $50, give me $100, I'll get you down there guaranteed. All right, and you get in like, oh thank God, everybody else said they couldn't do it. I wonder why. You get in the car, get stuck on traffic, say, oh this never happens. This is an unusual circumstance, so I'm not giving you your $100 back. This ain't even my fault.
Right.
Interesting. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm gonna
I'm
keep it.
telling you what
Gonna keep it.
the scenario that you just gave is exactly what I'm talking about with a lot of these persons that charge for $5.99, for $12.99. I can do this for you, because that's what's happening. Like people are trying to speedball a process that the money can't make it go faster.
Actually, if we're gonna keep the Uber metaphor, I think I got one more. I think I can take it just a little bit further, just a little bit further. Okay, but see, it's also like you are good at driving Uber all around Baltimore. You can get around Baltimore faster than anybody else. You've
Mhm.
been to DC a couple times and you've been down there real quick, but it's been the middle of the night or at the end of the day. So when I asked you, can you get me there in an hour? You're like, hell yeah. It's like everybody else says, no, I've done this before. You see me around Baltimore because you really do believe it. But you know
Right.
that it's going to cost a lot and you heard what everybody else is charging, so you charge more. You put them in the car really believing what you're telling them. You really do believe you can get them down there because you've never done this fully yourself or under
Right.
these conditions. And then what happens? Traffic. Now they mad at you and you're like, oh, I ain't know there was traffic. There's never been traffic before. They looking at you like I want. You told me you were gonna be able to get here. You look back at them. I do whole shows by myself sometimes. I just realized I was doing another one. Okay. There's a whole skit and personalities coming. I apologize. I have to write that down and talk to my therapist about it on Monday. That's the thing. We're going to
Oh,
put
I
that on the
spoke to
list.
mine earlier.
I'm gonna have to put this. I think this might be one that goes back on the list. It's like, hey, I'm doing it again. So okay, so I, as the liaison between Black women and the aliens, I thank you for your insight.
Oh, thank
Now
you
they
for
have
having me.
one more. They have one
Okay.
more question.
Okay.
If they can use their alien influence and power to do something for Black women, to provide a level of support that would make your experience easier as a Black woman, whether that is
Mm.
one policy, a mindset shift, or something, what can they do to help Black women?
Hmm. Okay, so I would have policy wise, I would have said about hair, but we got
Okay.
that in. So I am going to go with the mindset. I would like for the aliens to zap brains and
Mm-hmm.
eliminate competition amongst each other,
Mm.
and create a true and genuine sisterhood. And when I say true and genuine sisterhood, I mean not just a post, not just a cute slogan, not just a movement or a moment, but a true mindset that we are all in this together. That I'm your sister. You shouldn't worry about me dealing with your boyfriend, baby daddy, or husband, or daddy, because some people mess with people's daddies. You
That
shouldn't
is a
have to
whole
worry.
thing. That's a whole
Right.
thing. It's a whole thing.
you you should not be concerned if your kid comes around me. You should know that they are going to be loved and nurtured, and I'm going to treat them the way I treat my own kids. Um, just there should be a natural comfortableness amongst each other without competition. It doesn't matter if you light, you're brown, you got long hair, you got short hair, you bald headed like me. It doesn't matter that you know we should have a genuine love, a mindset. It should just like be automatic. Like even if like we have like a special thing right here that if we walk past each other, it's like, hey girl, or you look nice, or something. If the aliens could do that, I would greatly appreciate it.
Okay, we're gonna put that on the list because we're collecting a list this month, and then we're gonna put that on the list. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so
Thank you for
grateful for you being
having
here.
me. This was great. This was great. You and I can talk for
Absolutely.
hours though.
Oh, I know. I'm saying that's what because again, I had to make sure I kept looking at my show, and I was like, okay, wait, what else? Okay, don't get caught up. And it's like, is this on the topic? Because okay. So behind the scenes stuff, like we've gotten to the point where there are lists of things that I shouldn't talk about. Like if I hear myself talking about certain topics, no, no,
Mm,
no, can't talk about that because I go off. So I've come to grips with the whole angry Black man thing. It makes me feel good, and I realize I got shit to be angry about. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rock out with that. And but for the show, for the integrity, I have things that I should not talk about, like Santa Claus, because I'm probably gonna get in trouble for bringing that up now, because that's a that, yeah, I feel myself getting set off. All right, okay, I'm gonna talk to you later if I get in trouble.
okay. Bye.
Bye. I'll talk to you later. Oh, I told y'all I know dope people. I know dope people. I got some of the best friends in the world. The world. And you all had a chance to meet one of them. I am so grateful for Maya for coming out to talk to us today as part of our month of Black women. I will see you all later, and we will be Black then.